Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another weekly reading vlog, I guess. Weekly vlog. I don't quite know what we're doing all of this week, but I'm just taking it really slow. Have come out of a PMDD episode, and so I'm just kind of trying to take it easy, and I haven't vlogged in a while aside from that vlog, and so I'm just allowing myself to read slowly and just take it easy, which is the theme of this week. So I'm currently reading 2 books, and I don't have plans to really read anything else unless I finish these 2 this week. I have not started, but I plan to start The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue today. This is about Addie LaRue, who makes a deal with the devil to live forever, but the stipulation is that everybody forgets her the minute they turn away from her, and she meets someone that doesn't forget her. So I don't have the best luck with V.E. Schwab, but I want to give this a shot and see how I feel, because people who don't like Schwab and who do like Schwab kind of agree that this is like a really good book. So we'll see. And then I am also 36% of the way through A Clash of Kings, which is my audiobook for the moment. This is the second book in the Song of Ice and Fire series, the Game of Thrones series, and I've read up to the 3rd book, and I'm doing a buddy read of the whole thing, the whole series. So I had to reread the first one last month, rereading the second one this month, and then moving on to the 3rd one whenever I finished the second one. I gave the first one 4 stars. I think George R.R. Martin is a very good writer, obviously. He's well loved for a reason, and the worlds that he crafts are very, very well thought out, and his books, despite being actual bricks, are very well paced, and he has multiple points of view that he utilizes very well. But I hate the like incessant violence against women and the rampant misogyny, and I'm not saying like that's anything against him, but that is a very common thing with fantasies written by men, and I'm just kind of getting tired of it. Like, you can have whatever world you want in your fantasies, so you can easily rewrite gender norms and things like that. You don't have to have these fantasies that are just like every single female character gets assaulted at some point, or they are victims in some way, and that is like their character arc, and then slap the grimdark fantasy label on it and feel like that makes it a grimdark. I'm very hesitant to go into grimdark series for that reason, because like the minute I hear grimdark, I'm like, oh, it's just me. They just really just mean that all the women are gonna get assaulted. The first time I read this, between graduating high school to starting my channel where I wasn't reading a whole bunch, and so this was like one of the first books that I read in like 2 years, and I had just like picked up the box set and I just read 1 through 3, and then I just never continued, and I never really thought about it in that way, because I was, you know, just reading it to read it. And now that I'm reading it to analyze it with the intention of continuing the series, I definitely am looking at it more from an analytical standpoint and trying to think of things that I do and don't like. So I'm having a hard time overlooking things like that. And the men's point of views are just kind of boring aside from Tyrion. Like, so in the first one we have Sansa, and we have Arya, and then we have Caitlyn, who are the the 3 women of the Stark family. We had Eddard, we had Jon, and those are the main characters, the main guys of the Stark family. And then we have Tyrion, who is the younger brother of the Lannisters, and I think that's it. And then we have Daenerys, something like that, who is everybody's favorite character, the dragon lady. What are they? Targaryen. Jon went to the Wall, and Sansa, Eddard, and Arya went to the main capital of the kingdom, and then Bran, who is another boy of the Stark family, remained at the Stark castle. And then obviously Dany is on another island or another country, in another country. And so we've had a couple of points of view introduced. We've lost some points of view along the way. And like the guys are just kind of boring. Like the most interesting point of view guy-wise is Tyrion. And so it's like even men written by men are less interesting than women written by men. Like I'm just tired of men. I'm tired of men. Their thoughts, their points of view, they're just... I'm liking this one okay. I definitely think the first one is a lot stronger than this one. This would probably still be like a 4-star because like I said, his ability to write these fleshed out worlds and like balance his point of views makes things stay interesting despite this being, I think the audiobook is like 38 hours long. It's a massive book, and so you would think that it sort of would meander, but it doesn't because he has so many points of view. So that's nice. The one thing that I will say is I'm struggling with the audiobook is like there's a lot of names of houses, names of lords, like names of different people obviously that are involved in all of this like political machinations, and not seeing them is a little bit hard. I'm not used to really politically forward fantasies on audio. Anyways, I'm going to probably start Addie LaRue tonight. It is a little over 400 pages, I believe, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, but if I can get this to be a 5-star and then Clash of Kings to be like a 4 or 5-star, I will consider this a really successful week. So I don't have too much. My partner and I might go and do a date night this weekend, but other than that, like I really just plan on doing my yoga and playing some video games and like listening to my audiobook while I do that, and then reading. Like I said, just taking it really slow and doing some journaling, making sure that I'm keeping up with my yoga. What I'm gonna start doing is I tend to like get stressed about cleaning the house and stuff like that, because no one has said this in any of my videos before, but my partner works 2 jobs. He worked for a company and then he also is a day trader, so he does a lot. And so I work a job that has very minimal work hours, has very minimal work required, so I carry on, like I take care of the house, and he focuses on that. He'll help me if I ask him to, but I show the people in my life that I love them through acts of service. So like that's my contribution, I guess, is like making sure that I take care of the animals and the house and stuff like that. I get very stressed very easily because I'll have days where I'm like, you know, more anxious and I kind of just want to chill, but I never allow myself to chill, and I put that stress on myself to like make sure that my house looks really good and like I vacuum every day and all of that stuff, because I do have 3 ferrets and 2 cats, so like my house gets dirty quickly. Not necessarily dirty, but just like the carpet, I have to vacuum the carpet every day, and like we go through laundry and stuff like that. So like I just stress myself about making sure that the house looks good. Not necessarily like doing a deep clean all the time, obviously, but just like making sure that it looks good and that I'm maintaining it. And so like I stress myself when I really don't need to, and I'm trying to like work on that. I'm just trying to work on my mentality around my life in general, I guess. Like I'm just trying to allow myself more grace and also work on healthy productivity. So I beat myself up a lot for not really doing a lot because like my job isn't very labor intensive, and then but I am constantly filming something. That's why I'm so chatty right now, because I haven't filmed a video in like 2 weeks outside of my PMDD vlog. So I'm constantly filming something, constantly reading, and I like refuse to acknowledge the fact that I'm doing that, and I'm also maintaining the house and like maintaining are animals, and I refuse to like give myself the grace, and I always beat myself up. And I'm trying to like be nicer to myself, because I have this week out of every month where my brain is like telling me that I'm trash, like of my own, of its own volition, with no help from me. So I don't need to be doing that the rest of the time, you know? Like, I want to be able to manage those intrusive thoughts and getting them, like acknowledging them when they happen, and then just like letting them go. And I'm really hoping that like maintaining yoga and maintaining meditation, where I take a moment to just like calm down, and maintaining journaling will help. I have sort of had this like mentality that like I'm not going to journal if I don't have anything to say, but I feel like I don't have anything to say, but who knows, right? So I'm going to try to journal every single day. But we'll see how that goes. I have implemented a lot of tasks since I got my diagnosis, that I just don't feel like, I feel like I've overwhelmed myself a little bit, and I need to just like take it slow. So I am not doing anything wild to like maintain myself, just like everyday things, but there's been years where I just didn't do anything for myself. Like, I didn't eat meals right, I didn't exercise, like I didn't do anything to help myself feel better. So adding a bunch of things to the list to do every day is a lot, and I just want to take it slow. I just keep saying that, like, this is the vlog where I'm taking it slow. So I think for today, I have already done the dishes, and I took care of like some ferret things for my ferret, and then I have to let them out later and do a clean of their room. And so I think that's gonna be my task for today, is the dishes and the ferret room, and then tomorrow we'll tackle another item. So I'm not letting, it is 2:24 right now. The ferrets won't be let out until like 5:30, like once my partner is home and he can take care of the cats while the ferrets are out. So that's going to be a couple of hours. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play some Dreamlight Valley. I have been like working on my island, or on my valley or village or whatever. What, we'll go over that later because this clip is becoming quite long. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go play some Dreamlight, and then when it's ferret time, I'm gonna let the ferrets out, and then I gotta do a deep clean of their room. That's the plan. This has been a really long clip for me not really saying much, so. Good morning, friends. Happy Wednesday. As you can tell, I am working from home today, so I just decided to take a really slow morning. I did some chores, did a little bit of reading, and then played some Disney Dreamlight Valley. So I thought I would give you a book update because I haven't updated you since Monday, I think. And I have been reading. First up, I am 42% of the way through Clash of Kings, and I don't really have like any new information or any new opinions. Theon's point of view is incredibly boring, but other than that, like, I don't really have any new thoughts. I've read this book before. I'm slowly remembering it as I'm reading it, so that's sort of where we're at. And then I am 150 pages into The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and this is very middling for me, I think. At this point, it is like 1720 or something like that, and she is set to be married, and she doesn't want to get married, and she has a woman in her village named Estelle who has introduced her to the old gods, but she tells her, you can pray to the old gods all day, never pray to them at night because you never know who's going to answer. And it's her wedding day, and she runs into the woods as night is falling, and she prays for freedom, and a not good god or something answers, and she makes a deal with it that she will have an unlimited life, and then as soon as her soul, as soon as she doesn't want to live anymore, that god, devil, demon, whatever can have her soul. So he curses her to being invisible, basically. Like, every time someone looks away from her, they forget who she is. We're getting like the past and the present. In the present, we're in 2014 in New York, and then the past points of view are just like various cities that she's lived in, how she's come to get to the place she is in 2014 with like life and the deal that she makes in the relationship that she has with this entity. In 2014, she meets a guy named Henry who, one day she goes into his bookstore and she steals a book from him, and the next day she comes back and he remembers her as the person that stole it, and so their relationship has just started to bud. And then in the past, we have met Luke, who is the entity, that's the name she gave the entity, and they've had sort of an antagonistic relationship. I'm just not feeling like massively connected. I think Addie is very flat. She doesn't really have a personality beyond being sad that like nobody remembers her, which I guess is sort of the point, but it's hard for me to like care, I guess. They say like with immortality you lose a little bit of that humanity, you tend to lose personality and things like that, and I definitely see that, but also in the past timelines we're not really getting a whole lot of personality from her. Henry is just like a sad boy from what we've seen so far. And there are just particular things about her writing style that I'm not enjoying, and I just like historically have not enjoyed. I don't like repeating the same motifs over and over again, repeating the same like analogies over and over again and descriptions, and she does that a lot. And also she uses future talk too much. So for example, she'll be like, Addie is walking down the streets of Paris, and in the future the streets will look like this. I hate that. And I get that she's lived for so long that you sort of need to give snippets of her life in a quick and succinct way, but that's just not something that I enjoy. I would rather just know that she's lived a really long time and she's seen the iterations of this city than read that. It's just annoying, and it doesn't give me enough of her personality now and or whatever timeline we're in for me to really connect to Addie. And so I'm not feeling massively invested in it. Like, it's not super gripping. I know I'm only 150 pages in, and it's like 420 pages or something like that. So I'm gonna give it a little bit more. I might read to like the 200 page mark because it is very readable. It's not something despite me taking it very slowly, it's not something that I'm like struggling with in any way, but it just isn't something that's going to be like an all-time favorite 5-star sort of like I was anticipating, which is fine. And I think after this, like, I'm just going to be done with V.E. Schwab. I have read, I've tried to read her Darker Shades of Magic. I've tried to read the one with the 2 dudes. I have read her middle grade series, and now I've read this, and like none of them really worked for me. So I just think that she's not the author for me, which is totally fine. So like I said, I'm gonna give it about 50, maybe 100 more pages, and then we'll see how I'm feeling from there. But for now, I'm gonna drink my coffee and probably play a little bit more of Dreamlight Valley. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, so we'll talk later. Okay, so I had a really good morning. We had that little chat, did all of my things, and now I'm feeling very stressed, very anxious, and I'm getting in bed. I have not allowed myself to do this recently, where I will just like feel very overwhelmed and then I'll just go lay in bed, but I'm allowing myself today. If you didn't see, I put out my first PMDD vlog, which is very stressful. It's very personal, and like I don't think anybody will be nasty about it. Sorry, I'm unplugging my heater and moving it to in front of my bed. Because it is quite cold. Like, it's been pretty warm the past couple of days, and then suddenly it just got cold. Well, which is welcome to where I live. It's just like that. I put out that vlog, and it's quite anxiety inducing, putting such personal information out there and like opening yourself up to people's opinions. Like, obviously I know I do that every day when I post a video, vlogging, whatever, but it's a different kind of personal when you're talking about your mental health and your health in general and treatment and stuff like that. So I'm feeling very stressed, and I'm also cold. So I'm gonna sit in front of my heater and I'm gonna try to read a little bit until my groceries get here, and then we're gonna unpack my groceries. At some point I might do yoga. I might do it later tonight, or I might do it earlier, but I'm just gonna lay here for right now and get warm and comfy, and sort of like, I feel like this is what I need right now. Like, I was talking to my partner about this yesterday, because I have been watching some podcasts, well, one in particular, and it involved Lucy Hale. She was talking about her battles with an eating disorder and addiction, all that kind of stuff, and she was talking about how it's like, I'm never one for like words of affirmation or quotes and stuff like that. That's just not what works for me. She was talking about loving herself. Like, she only has her life, she only has her body. You have these struggles with mental health or addiction or what have you. This was like my thoughts expounding on that. You might have your struggles, but like for me, I have a week out of every month that my brain just shits on itself. Like, it tells me I'm worthless, that I can't do anything right, that everybody hates me. And I don't need myself helping that in any way. Like, those thoughts are things that I can't control. They just happen. And I want to make sure that my mind is healthy and that I'm speaking to myself in a good way, because the things you tell yourself are very important. I want to make sure that I am not being unhealthy towards myself when I already have a week out of the month where I'm going to be unhealthy, where my mind is going to tell me things regardless of how I feel. Does that make sense? So I want to be kind to myself, and I want to not have these really mean thoughts and like allow myself to spiral. And I want to be kind to myself and like recognize the things that I bring to the table and like the good parts of my personality. And part of that includes not beating myself up for needing things, not beating myself up for wanting to be in bed or wanting to play video games or whatever the case may be. Like, not beating myself up for that instead of doing something else. So that all that is to say that I am going to get in bed, gonna get warm, maybe read a little bit, but probably just watch some YouTube, and I'm really okay with that. I haven't really done much reading. I did that little bit of reading this morning, and really since then I've filmed a video and then I played some video games. Filmed and edited a video and then played some video games. So I've been doing stuff. I just haven't been reading, which is fine. So if I go back to watching YouTube, that's fine, but I need to just like allow myself to have this little freak out, this little anxiety spell, do whatever my body tells me I need to do, and then let it go. So not beat myself up for it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Thank you, little space heater. Thank you, bed. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, I thought we could do a grocery haul. If you're not a nosy bitch like me who doesn't like grocery hauls, I'm really sorry, but I like to see them. So here we are. We do HelloFresh every week, but I still like to get groceries and stuff. So we have some olive oil. We have magnesium because I need to start taking magnesium. Planet oat milk creamer, which is the creamer that I use exclusively. I don't like almond milk too much. I prefer oat milk, so I use this. We have Delight iced coffee in the vanilla flavor. I was making iced coffee at home, but I have a Keurig, 1 cup. So I was just having to run it too much. I decided to get an iced coffee. We then have mixed fruit, spinach, Greek yogurt, because I like smoothies. I need to start doing smoothies, and also I can do them just regular like snacks. And then we also have raw pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. I got 2 different kinds of sunflower seeds because I'm trying to do seed cycling, which is basically like something to do with your period. They say if you eat certain seeds at certain points of your period cycle, it helps balance your hormones. And so they say if you eat pumpkin seeds in the first 15 days and then sunflower seeds in the last 15 days, it'll help. But I didn't know if they meant like without the exterior or what. So I got kernels, and then I also got regular seeds to actually eat. And then I'll put the pumpkin or sunflower kernels in my yogurts and stuff. So then we have this like mixed variety pack of fruit roll-ups and fruit gushers. We have some chocolate ice cream, which is my partner's favorite ice cream, and then we have some chips, some scorching hot cheddar for my partner. We have some blueberry bagels that I eat every morning, bananas for my smoothies and or yogurt. We have some Crystal Light, which is my partner's, 2 cheese danishes, which my partner loves, Dr. Pepper, toilet paper, kitty litter, that sort of stuff. So that is that. I'm gonna get to packing these, putting these away, and we'll talk later. Good morning, friends. Happy Thursday. I am working from home again today. So we need to do a library trip, and we also need to go to PetSmart to pick up some cat food. The tunes for the day is Clash of Kings. I am still only like 45% of the way through. This is the outfit. I am wearing a Hello Lovely box hoodie or a sweatshirt. What? Yes. What, sweet girl? That says read more books, I think, or something like that. And then I'm just wearing some black leggings. I'm gonna go to the library first, pick up some books that I had on hold, return the books that I have out. and then go to PetSmart. All pretty close. Like PetSmart's like 15 minutes away, and then my library is like literally behind my neighborhood. So, and then we'll come back and we'll do like a little library haul, and we'll talk about what I've done. My battery's about to die, so let me go change it out and then do my errands, and we'll be back.
To restore Harrenhal to glory and make it his new seat once the war was done. We's used Arya to run messages, draw water, and fetch food, and sometimes to serve a table in the barracks hall above the armory, where the men-at-arms slept.
Okay, friends, if you fall over, it's because of Gotham, but I am back from my library and from PetSmart. So first up we have Don't Fear the Reaper, which is the second book to My Heart is a Chainsaw. It is like a slasher horror ode to horror movies sort of series. In the first one, the main character Jade is obsessed with horror slashers, and she thinks that there's a slasher going on in her town. It's very much internal, and then this is the sequel, and I've heard that it reads like a slasher, so I'm excited to get into that one. And then we have Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I got the third or second one a while ago on accident, thinking that it was the first one, and now I want to read the rest of the series before I read that one. It's time I finally jump on this bandwagon, I guess, and see how I feel. Like, everybody loves this series, and I want to know, you know? And then I got volume 2 of Spy X and volume 6. My library has all of the volumes, but they didn't come through in time. Like, I had to go pick these up before they expired, and so I have the first one. Like, I physically own the first one, and I got 2 through 9 because I want to do a 24-hour readathon and read these, and they haven't come through yet. So this is like about a guy who is, it's a manga, it's about a guy who's a spy, and for his mission he needs to have a family, so he gets a wife that's an assassin that he doesn't know about, and a daughter who is telepathic, I think, or something like that. And I've watched the anime, I'm caught up to the anime, and I want to read the manga series. So that is that. And then I also got volume 2 of Yona of the Dawn. I'm waiting for volume 1, and I think I requested volume 1 through 4, but again, I'm waiting for people to read them, for them to come back to me, and so I'm going to read this for that 24-hour readathon as well. And this is about Yona, who's a princess, and I believe she has to go on the run because her family gets killed, and it's her romance with her bodyguard, I think. I've heard fantastic things, and I'm excited to get to it whenever the first one comes through. So that is my little library book haul. I'm very excited to get into them. Don't know when I will read them, but that is kind of the deal. So let's talk about what I'm currently reading. So I ended up DNFing Addie LaRue. I just wasn't connected, and I think that is one of those books that you either really love the characters or you don't, and if you don't, it's such a character-driven story that it's kind of like, what's the point? The writing is really beautiful, there's a lot of like quotable moments, but if I don't love the characters, the writing doesn't really do much for me beyond just being like, oh, that's a nice quote or whatever. So I decided to DNF that one. And then I, like I said, am 50-ish% of the way through Clash of Kings. I'm enjoying it. Like, we're starting to get more points of view of characters that I enjoy. I said this, I believe, in a previous clip, but George R. R. Martin, his point of views are not great. Like, he has some point of views that are really strong, really good, characters are super interesting, and then he has others that I just find boring. And I know that they pick up, and like, this is the second book. The first one was introducing the characters, the second one is sort of like getting the characters to the point that they need to be for when everything kicks off. So we're very much still in the beginning portions of the story. but there's just points of view that I just don't care about. Like, Theon is very boring. Bran isn't too interesting. Like, I just feel like there's other points of view that he could have written, that he could have focused on. Mainly Cersei. Cersei? What is her name? Ceres? Or whatever the sister Lannister, or whatever her name is. Like, we could have gotten her point of view and it would have been so interesting, because I think she's a fascinating character. He has points of view that he could have used and he doesn't. And like I said, I've only read the first 3 books. Who knows like what the 4th and the 5th are gonna look like. I don't even know like if these are gonna be the permanent points of view, the ones that we're getting now. So I could be wrong, and like it could get more interesting. I know the points of view are gonna get more interesting. He's big brained, right? He's a good author, he's a good writer, he knows what he wants his story to look like, where he wants it to go. So obviously he's picking points of view that he has plans for. But I would have liked like Stannis' point of view, or the Red Sorceress' point of view. I would have liked Cersei's point of view. Mostly just women. Like, I just want the women's point of view. I don't really want the men's point of view. Like, there's a couple of men that have been interesting. And like I said, this is a very like setup book. We know our characters, we know our world, and now we're getting ready for all the shit that's about to happen. And I'm ready for it. And I appreciate the page count. I understand the reason that the books are as long as they are, and I don't have any issue with the length. Like, genuinely, I don't have the issue with the length of any of them. I think they are very well paced. I just have issues with the point of view. And even the points of view we get, like, they're not bad by any means. They're just not as interesting as I feel like they could be, or they're not the point of views that I want, I guess. So that's sort of where I'm at with that. And then I also started a dark gothic fantasy romance called Fairy-Dale, which there's 2 separate covers for this. This one, which is the really good one in my opinion, and like this one, which is like the paperback version, and the tones are just wildly different for each cover. So even if I really loved this book, I probably wouldn't ever get a physical copy, because I don't like the paperback copy cover. I started that. It is a historical setting. We are in like I think we're in like the early 1900s, and we start off the book with a woman getting assaulted. Then we flash forward to a woman who works in a convent. She was an orphan who was taken in by the nuns after her mother passed away, and she gets a letter saying that her father, who was a rich lord or something like that, has passed away, and she needs to go to this town called Fairy-Dale to be there for the reading of the will, meet the family, stuff like that. She didn't know anything about this father, and every time that she had talked to anybody, like her mom or anybody, about her father, she just said like, he's a bad man. Like, you don't know him, he's a bad man. So she finds out that he has died, and she meets with the nuns of the convent, and they give very mixed signals. Like, they tell her that he was a really rich guy and he was married and had kids, so he knew that he couldn't be in her life, but he wanted to make sure that she had like the best of everything. So he gave the nuns money every year or whatever to, you know, make sure that she has a good life. She's an adult now, and then she asks the nuns, like, what is Fairy-Dale like? I've never even heard of it. And they immediately like shut down the conversation. They're like, oh, it's just a town full of rich people. Like, they don't even want to talk about it. They don't want to disclose any information about it. So she's like, okay, cool. So she gets on the train, and they're like, there's no train to Fairy-Dale, you'll have to find a way to get there. There's no train tracks that run through Fairy-Dale. And she's like, that's weird. It's on my ticket that says from wherever to Fairy-Dale, but whatever. So she leaves the train station, and this guy shows up, and he just like got right place, right time, just randomly shows up and is like, hey, I'm here to take you to Fairy-Dale. I'm the solicitor that sent you the letter saying that your father was dead. And she's like, okay. And then they hit the Fairy-Dale line, and it starts pouring down rain. The dude that's driving gets really angry really fast. Like, he has a giant change in mood, and he's like scowling and cursing and stuff like that. Then some papers blow into the windshield and makes it hard to see, so he pulls over. She gets out and like starts to try to take the letters off, and they won't come off. So she gets out of the car to help him, and she doesn't get rained on at all. Like, it's a torrential downpour, huge storm, like hurricane level winds, like really, really bad. And she's not getting wet at all. And the guy sees that, and he gets pissed and says some like weird shit to her. So she's like, okay, whatever, like, I'm just gonna stick it out until I can get there. Like, this dude's really weird, I don't trust it, I'm uncomfortable, but like, I don't have any other choice. So they get back in the car, and his mood immediately changes. He's like smiling at her and being very nice to her, but in a very like hollow way. And they get to the house. They're not very nice to her, and there's a comment made about how she's not wet even in the downpour. And then they send her off to this house that her father left her. And so she goes to this house. It's out in the middle of nowhere. The town is like miles and miles away. Across the street is a church, and like down the street is this palatial mansion that is the reason that this town was built, basically. The guy that built the mansion for his wife also built the town. She is staying in this house, and she hears an organ play, and so she goes to the church across the street, and there's nobody at the organ, and she gets really freaked out. She starts seeing shadows and stuff, and then a guy is like, what are you doing over here? What's going on? And she meets Hale. I can't remember what his first name is, but his last name is Hale, and his family owns that mansion. That's kind of where we're at. Like, a lot happened in the first, I think I'm only 10% of the way through. The book is almost 800 pages. I'm interested to see where the story goes, because I don't know what 800 pages in a small town is gonna look like, unless shit just goes bonkers. So I did read some reviews that said the romance is pretty slow burn. I possibly have met the hero, but I'm not sure. But I'm very intrigued, very, very intrigued by this dark gothic fantasy romance. So I'm in a very chatty mood today, as you can tell. I had that bad day yesterday, and now I just feel better. I'm probably going to do some reading. I might listen to an audiobook and play some video games. I guess we'll talk later. I don't really have too many like huge life updates or anything for you. It's Thursday, and that's it. I don't have any plans for this weekend as far as I know. So it's another just hang out at home. I might do a 24-hour readathon, but I don't know. Like, if the books don't come through, then I'm not gonna do the 24-hour readathon. And like, I was asking, sorry, I'm like trying to screw my tripod on. I was asking the lady at the library if she could give me an update on the status, and she said that all of the books that I have pending are still checked out. So I'm just waiting for them to return. So who knows? But I definitely want to finish Fairydale and Clash of Kings before I start anything else, hoping that Fairydale is good. So we will talk later. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys have been having a good week. Okay friends, it is Friday. This video is quite long, and I kind of just want to take the weekend off, so I am going to wrap up the vlog here. I am very happy with the way that my week turned out. I think I'm feeling very rejuvenated and ready to get back at it, and I'm happy that I did this. This might become like a regular thing where I just do vlogs where I'm just like taking it very slow. I managed to get all my chores done. I did some reorganization around my house, some redecorating. I changed my shelves again, like I do at least twice a month. And I did that on my own time. I didn't do it I didn't do everything all at once. You know, the first couple of days I did one chore here and there. Yesterday I kind of got a lot of things knocked out. I vacuumed, I did the litter boxes, I scrubbed my fridge. And I wish that I had done that a little bit more slowly because I didn't have a chance to do my yoga yesterday because my back was hurting so bad by the time that I was done. Today I think I'm just gonna do 2 rounds of yoga. I did my yoga this morning, and then I think I'm probably gonna do a guided video today just to kind of release some of the tension and the pain that is going on in my body from yesterday. So I'm definitely happy with the way that my week went. I'm happy that I got to chat a little bit in this vlog about books and about myself and all of that. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you will stick around. If you want to let me know how your week was down in the comments, I would love to know. What does a slow week look like for you if you're able to take them? If you don't have anything to say, leave a rainbow emoji down in the comments, or a smile, either one. If you're looking for more content from me, you can check out my Instagram or my podcast Instagram. You can also check out my podcast on your favorite streaming platforms. It is a horror podcast. It's a lot of fun. We are on a hiatus right now, but we're hoping to come back soon. I'm going to leave some podcasts that I've been listening to down in the comments in relation to PMDD, trauma, psychology in general, some things that you might find interesting if you enjoy the same things that I do. Don't forget to subscribe if you are looking for more content like this. I would love to have you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next one.